Those attending the annual Deaf Camp, this year held at the Adventist Alpine village Jindabyne, enjoyed a lift from their world of quiet isolation that comes with fellowshipping with their deaf peers, according to Lee Dunstan, who cares for the church's special needs service to the deaf. Says Mr. Dunstan, along with the joy that comes from getting up close to nature, was the spiritual rise the group got from guest speaker Esther Doss from the USA. Esther is a CODA, child of deaf adults, so was well received by the group that consisted of hard of hearing, deaf, blind deaf, and their companions. Esther's empathy, which comes from her life lived amidst the deaf, gives her a unique connection. Many of our church's deaf live isolated lives, geographically, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, so they had the opportunity to refill all their empty tanks. Miss Doss is a full-time mum, but she also works with the Three Angels Deaf Ministry. She is also the Deaf Ministry's coordinator for the North American Division, working closely with the new General Conference Special Needs Ministry. The deaf are not well represented in our churches. It is to reach this invisible demographic that the camps are run. And while organised by Logan Reserve, Queensland church member Mark Davey and his SDA Deaf Church Down Under team, they are supported by the church's Christian Services for the Blind and Hearing Impaired, CSFBHI ministry, headed by Lee Dunstan. The latter has operated an audio library of denominational books for many years. For the blind, this year, it funded closed captioning of the Tell the World movie. According to Lee Dunstan, the ministry is about to undergo change. He is working to reform the CSFBHI into an organisation with a wider scope that includes all forms of special need. Says Mr. Dunstan, we plan to have this in place by our church's Special Needs Day in April next year. We're not waiting until then to do things, however. For example, we're helping Sydney's New Hope Church to put their Aussie Pastor TV programs on air with on-screen, Auslan-signed translation. As a church, we are intentional about reaching the deaf community via the media, TV, internet and DVD, and also providing at least one venue in each state where there is a signed Sabbath worship service that the deaf can attend.